happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying the Valentine's themed crochet projects. I've dedicated this whole week to put my designs that are Valentine's inspired in your faces on all my social media platforms. And I hope you have enjoyed the episodes of me doing that. And Valentine's Day is tomorrow. I want to drop one more tutorial, but that's not the end. I know that I'm going to put out some more designs in these patterns, but just because it was the season, so I was really concentrated on that line of creation. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful sweater. It's a cropped sweater or a crop top, whatever you wish to call it. You can make it an oversized sweater. So the construction is going to be just a basic construction. The sleeves have a shaping, of course, so make sure you stay tuned for that, because we are not just creating plain rectangles and attaching them together. That's because I am trying to eliminate the bulge in the armpit area. And yeah, this is a heart printed kind of pattern that we also used for our previous shorts stroke pants that already have a tutorial and a written pattern, as well as the Valentines Hearts crochet tote bag. If you decide to make it a crop top to match the shorts that we just did in our previous video, or the pants, it would totally be fine. And there's some things that are optional when it comes to this design. As you can see in the images, some of the images have a ribbing, some of them don't. So within the video, I'll be giving both options so that you can choose which style suits you best, and whether to attach a ribbing for the cuffs as well as the bottom of the top or the sweater, or to leave it out and it remains hanging, as you can see in some of these images. So choose your style and let's get right into the video. So as I had mentioned, we already have the short stroke pants design already on the channel, and I'll be leaving all the links to the related content as well as the tutorial for the bag and the written pattern for it. And yeah, let's go into the materials. For the materials, I used milk cotton yarn for the white color, and I used approximately 6 to 7 balls, if I'm not mistaken, around 6 to 7 balls for the whole piece. And then for the red, I used Alize cotton gold, and I'll be leaving all the details in the description box as well. And for the Alize cotton gold, I used about 2 to 3 balls. So just to be on a safe side, have 3 balls of yarn, and I'll be also mentioning the yarn amounts in the description, breaking it down for you. So I also used a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, as you can see here, 3.5, a darning needle, a measuring tape, and then you'll have some stitch markers because we need them as we work this design. And then I think that is basically it. So for this design, we work several panels, actually 4 panels that are joined together to make the basic shape of the sweater. And then later on, we decide whether we want a ribbing or to leave it out. So for when it comes to the panels, the approach is going to literally be the same. And I will be starting off with the front or the back panel because they're going to be identical. So the measurement that you're going to consider is your shoulder to shoulder measurement. For me, that is the shoulder to shoulder measurement that I considered was 18 inches. And you're going to start off with a slip knot, and you're going to make your shoulder to shoulder measurement chain. And for me, I did a total of 79 chains, and this should be a multiple of 6 plus 1. So get your colors. Now the color that's not going to make the shape of the heart is the color that you should start with. So for me, I'm starting off with 79 chains. That should be your shoulder to shoulder measurement. And remember, I mentioned that we are going to work this piece in panels. So this will be either the front or the back panel. So let's consider this as the front panel. Make your chain. I'll be back when I have a total of 79 chains. Alright guys, so I have my 79 chains. Remember I mentioned that your starting chain should be a multiple of 6 plus 1 chain. So 78 is my multiple of 6 plus 1, which is a total of 79. So let's take a measurement across. You can see without stretching I have a total of 15 inches, but when I stretch a bit it goes to 18 inches. So consider this measurement well slightly stretched, otherwise you're going to end up with a very huge fitting, unless if that's exactly what you want, especially for the people who are working like an oversized sweater. Then you're going to consider this measurement without stretching. But for me, I want some sort of fitting that will match my shirts eventually, so I consider this measurement well slightly stretched. So I'm going to remove my hook, and you're going to get a stitch marker and you're going to place it into this loop at the end of your foundation chain. Now we are going on to row 1. So this stitch marker is to prevent the project from unraveling, and as we work this project, as we work this stitch, we place stitch markers because we carry along the yarn so that we don't have so many loose ends at the end of the project. So we keep carrying along the yarn so that we have clean edges, as you'll see later on. So let's go on to row 1. Switch to your next color. For me, that is going to be the red color, or the color of the hearts. So you're going to decide what color you want for the hearts. And then you're going to make a slip knot, and you are going to go into the last chain that you made, not the one with a stitch marker, this last chain here, and you're going to attach your yarn. Then you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. Into that same chain you're going to go in there with 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2. That means the very first chain has gotten a total of 3 double crochets. Chain 3, skip 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, and into the next chain you're going to place a total of 5 double crochets, 1 2 3 4 and 5. And just like that, we're going to repeat this. Chain 3, skip 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, and into the 6th you're going to place your 5 double crochets, 1 2 3 4 and 5. So repeat that all the way across, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the chain. Alright guys, we've come to the end and I have a total of 6 chains left. I will make a chain of 3 and skip over the 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, and into that very last chain I'm going to place a total of 3 double crochets. Sorry, the chain is a bit big, but I'm going to try to correct it. A total of 3 double crochets into the very last chain. So this is what you'll have. We're going on to row 2, and at this point you can get another stitch marker and place it into this loop at the end of row 1. And now we're going to go on to where we ended the foundation chain. Remove that stitch marker and then insert your hook into the loop and make a chain of 3. 1 2 and 3, and then you're going to remove your hook, insert your hook into the top of the first chain 3 of row 1, and then grab that loop, pull through, chain 1, go into the same exact stitch with a single crochet, and then you're going to make a chain of 2. Now we're going to go into the chain that we skipped on the row below, on the foundation chain actually. So remember we skipped a total of 5 chains, 1 2 3 4 5, and into the middle chain, which should be the 3rd chain, you're going to place an elongated double crochet. So you yarn over, go into the 3rd chain, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's an elongated double crochet. Chain 1, elongated double crochet into the same exact chain as the previous elongated double crochet. So that will create some sort of V-stitch. Then you're going to make a chain of 2 and single crochet into the middle stitch of the next 5 double crochets. So into the middle stitch, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all. Chain 2, go into the middle chain of the 5 chains that you skipped. So into the 3rd chain, place an elongated double crochet, chain 1, and elongated double crochet into the same exact chain. So this is what your work will look like. You're going to make a chain of 2 and single crochet into the middle stitch of the next 5 stitches, the 5 double crochets. So you should notice that we are working in the same direction as the previous row. So chain 2, elongated double crochet into the middle chain of the skipped 5 chains, chain 1, elongated double crochet into the same stitch or chain, chain 2, single crochet into the middle stitch of the next 5 stitches. So you're going to repeat that all the way across until towards the end of the row, and I'll show you how to wind up. Alright, so I'm coming to the end of row 2, and after a single crochet here, I'm going to make a chain of 2 and go into the middle chain of the 5 chains that were skipped from the foundation chain, and place my elongated double crochet, chain 1, and another elongated double crochet, just like we've been doing. Now you're going to make a chain of 2 and single crochet on top of the last double crochet of the previous row. Just make a single crochet there, and then you're going to place a stitch marker into the loop of the last single crochet. Now you're going to remove the stitch marker of the previous color and then turn your work, and then you're going to insert your hook into the single crochet stitch and grab the loop of the previous color, which should be red, and then make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, just like that. And then from here you're going to go into this space, the chain 1 space in between the elongated double crochets, and you're going to place a total of 5 double crochets. And then make a chain of 3, 5 double crochets into the chain 1 space between the next 2 elongated double crochets. Chain 3, 5 double crochets into the chain 1 space between the next 2 elongated double crochets, and you're going to repeat that all the way across. Just like that. So you continue to chain 3 and then keep placing 5 double crochets in the chain 1 spaces between the 2 elongated double crochets from the row below. So keep doing this and I'll meet you back towards the end of row 3. Alright guys, now we've come to the end of row 3, and I've just placed my 5 double crochets into the last chain 1 space in between the 2 elongated double crochets. Now you're going to make a chain of 1 and place a double crochet in this last single crochet of the previous row. Place a double crochet there, and then you're going to place your stitch marker into that loop so that it doesn't unravel, and then we're going to go back to this side, remove your stitch marker, and then you're going to make a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This counts as the elongated double crochet, chain 1. So you're going to go into this same space here with an elongated double crochet, just like that, and then you're going to make a chain of 2 and then single crochet in the middle stitch of the next 5 stitches, chain 2, and now we are going to place our elongated double crochets in the chain 2 spaces of the row below this one. So in that white row, you're going to yarn over, go into the chain 2 space, place your elongated double crochet, chain 1, go into the next chain 2 space and place your elongated double crochet, and then make a chain of 2 and single crochet into the middle stitch of the next 5 stitches, chain 2, repeat the same exact process, go into the chain 2 space with an elongated double crochet, chain 1, elongated double crochet into the next chain 2 space, and then make a chain of 2 and single crochet into the middle stitch of the next 5 stitches. So you're going to repeat this all the way across, and I'll meet you back towards the end of the row. Sorry, it's raining outside. So you can see the hearts starting to form, and the pattern will get prettier and prettier as we keep working and as the piece keeps building. Alright guys, we're coming to the end of row 4 and I'm still chaining 2 and placing a single crochet into the middle double crochet of the next 5 stitches. Then you're going to make a chain of 2, go into the chain 2 space here and place an elongated double crochet, chain 1, and then into the single crochet here you're going to go in there with another elongated double crochet. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's how we end row 4. At this point you're going to remove your hook and place a stitch marker and leave that row. Now we're going to remove the stitch marker from our previous color. Remove your stitch marker and insert your hook, and then you're going to make a chain of 3 to bring up the row because it was at the base. So you chain 3, remove your hook, and then you're going to go into the chain 1 space here and you're going to pull that loop of the red color. Pull it through the chain 1 space and then make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet. In the same chain 1 space you're going to place 2 more double crochets to make a total of 3 double crochets, just as we have at row 1. You remember we had 3 stitches at the beginning, so we have 3 double crochets here, chain 3, 5 double crochets in the chain 1 space in between the next 2 elongated double crochets. So I'm placing my 5 double crochets there, chain 3, 5 double crochets into the chain 1 space in between the next 2 elongated double crochets. Alright, so we're going to repeat that all the way across, and I'll meet you back towards the end of row 5. Alright, so we're coming to the end of row 5 and I'm chaining 3, and in between the 2 elongated double crochets, because the first chain 5 counted as an elongated double crochet, into that space you're going to go in there with a total of 3 double crochets to balance what we have at the beginning of the row. Remember, we started the row with 3 double crochets because the chain 3 at the beginning counts as a stitch, as a double crochet stitch. So from here you're going to repeat rows hold on, we are now going to go on to row 6. So you're going to pull up and then insert your stitch marker and then go to your previous color, remove the stitch marker, insert your hook, and just as we did for row 2 you're going to make a chain of 3 to bring up your yarn, remove your hook, into the top of the chain 3 of the previous row, insert your hook, pull through that loop of the previous color, chain 1 and single crochet into the same stitch. Remember us doing that at row 2. Now you are going to make a chain of 2 and then go into the chain 2 space 1 row below and place an elongated double crochet, chain 1 and another elongated double crochet in the next chain 2 space, then chain 2 and single crochet in the middle stitch of the next 5 stitches. So I hope you still remember how to do this. Chain 2, go into the chain 2 space here and place an elongated double crochet, chain 1, go into the next chain 2 space and place an elongated double crochet. So after this you're going to make a chain of 2 and single crochet into the middle stitch of the next 5 double crochets. So repeat that all the way to the end and I'll show you how to wind up, and then I'll also explain the repeat rows from here at the end of this row. So you can see the heart shape starting to form, and it will become more and more visible as we keep working our rows. All right, so we've come to the end of the row, and after this elongated double crochet you're going to make a chain of 2 and single crochet on top of the last double crochet of the previous row, and that marks the end of row 6. Now we're going to repeat rows 3 to 6 again and again until we have this length, measuring from the base of your top where you want your top to sit up to your upper bust where we shall start creating the neckline shaping, minus the 2 inches for the ribbing, if at all you're going to create a ribbing for your top. Alright guys, so for my front panel or back panel, because we're going to have the same exact thing going on for both the front and the back panel, so I did my panel until it measured about 10 inches, and you should make sure that this is the length from your armpit all the way down to where you want your top to stop. But remember, we are working from the base of the top all the way up. So I have my 10 inches for my top, and now I'm going to do some neckline shaping. So as you can see my work here, these are the half hearts on the edges, and then we have the full hearts. You're going to count inwards. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to count until you have 2 hearts left. So ignore the 2 hearts in the middle and then place a stitch marker in the single crochet on top of the hearts on the sides of the 2 hearts in the middle. So as you can see, we have place slip stitches. You're going to place stitch markers on the hearts besides the 2 in the middle. As you can see here, we have 2. This is the exact middle of my panel. So we have these 2 hearts, and then you're going to place stitch markers here. So we are going to carry on with our pattern for row 31 or whatever row that you're at right now. If you want your top to be longer, you should just make sure you end on a row that looks like row 2. as you can see here, the one that starts and ends with a single crochet. Actually, not row 2. This is row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6. Yes, you should make sure that you end on a row that looks like row 6, because row 2 goes into the foundation chain. So it may get a little bit confusing. So make sure that you end on a row that looks like row 6, and that should be the white row. So we're going to carry on with our next row, which should be looking like row 3, because we repeat rows 3 to 6. So you insert your hook here into the single crochet, and then you're going to make a chain of 4, and into the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, you're going to place your 5 double crochets. So this is basically the same exact instructions for row 3. 5 double crochets, chain 3, 5 double crochets into the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets. And you're going to repeat that all the way across until you get towards your first stitch marker. Now we're going to work our short rows that are going to shape the neckline, and we're going to go all the way to this point and keep working here in order to create the shaping of the neckline. As you can see here, I've already worked one of the panels just to see how it would look like, but you can see the slant, and that's exactly what we want to work on this side. So I'm going to teach you how to make this slant in order to create the neckline of the panel. So continue to chain 3 and 5 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Until you get towards the stitch marker, and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so we've made it to the 5 double crochets before the stitch marker that we just placed, and now you're going to go into that single crochet with a stitch marker, and you're going to place a single crochet. Then you're going to remove the stitch marker from the single crochet and place it into this loop. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to start creating the slant on one of the sides. So you're going to grab your next color, and we're going to attach it. You're going to turn your work, and you're going to attach it into the single crochet, just like that, and make a chain of 3. Actually, make a chain of 3 and single crochet into the middle double crochet of the 5 stitches, chain 2, and then elongated double crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 1, elongated double crochet in the chain 2 space 2 rows below, chain 2, and single crochet into the middle double crochet of the next 5 stitches. So this is row 2 of the neckline shaping. So chain 2, elongated double crochet, chain 1, elongated double crochet into the next chain 2 space. By now you should be knowing where to place the elongated double crochets. Then chain 2 and single crochet in the middle stitch of the 5 double crochets, chain 2. You're going to repeat that all the way across. Just repeat the pattern. Alright, so I'm placing a single crochet in the middle stitch of the last 5 double crochets, and then from here you're going to make a chain of 2 and elongated double crochet into the chain 2 space. Remember, we don't create any decreases on the edge of our piece. So after our elongated double crochet, you're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the single crochet of the white row and place another elongated double crochet to end your row. This will be row 2 of the pattern of the neckline shaping. And then you're going to place a stitch marker into the loop. And then we are going to go back to our red row or red color. Remove your stitch marker from here. And then you're going to make a chain of 3. And make a single crochet. Actually, I've made a chain of 4. After your single crochet, you're going to go into the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, and we're going to place our 5 double crochets, chain 3, 5 double crochets into the next chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, chain 3, repeat that all the way to the end. And when you come to the end, you're going to make a chain of 3, and in this chain 1 space in between the 2 elongated double crochets, you're going to only place a total of 3 double crochets, and that's it. You're going to place a stitch marker into the loop. This marks the end of row 3 of the neckline shaping, and then you're going to grab your white color, turn your work, and then pick up your previous color. Remove the loop, and then you're going to make a chain of 3 and go into the last double crochet here. Make a chain of 1 and single crochet, and then you're going to chain 2 and elongated double crochet, chain 1, elongated double crochet into the next chain 2 space, chain 2, single crochet into the middle double crochet of the 5 double crochets, chain 2, elongated double crochet, chain 1, elongated double crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Repeat that all the way across until towards the end of row 4. So I'm placing a single crochet into the middle stitch of the last group of 5 double crochets, and you're going to place a stitch marker. Now we're going to pick up our red color, remove the stitch marker, and make a chain of 4 and double crochet 5 times into the chain 1 space in between the elongated double crochets, chain 3, 5 double crochets into the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, and repeat that until towards the end of the row. Okay, so chain 3 and into the last chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, you're going to place your 5 double crochets, and then single crochet in the single crochet from the previous row, and then you're going to place your stitch marker. This is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is row 5 of the neckline shaping. Then you're going to turn your work and pick up your previous color. This will be row 6. Remove your stitch marker, and you're going to make a chain of 3 or 4 depending on how long you want this to go. I'll make a chain of 4 and go into the middle double crochet of the 5 double crochets, chain 2, elongated double crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 1, elongated double crochet in the chain 2 space, chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, elongated double crochet, chain 1, elongated double crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So you can see how the neckline slant is being created. Go ahead, chain 2, just repeat the pattern until towards the end of the row, and I'll show you how to wind up, because at this point you're going to have different sizes or different hats, a different number of hats, so your rows may appear longer depending on the size that you made for. So we're coming to the end of row 6 of the neckline shaping. You're going to make a chain of 2, and then into the chain 2 space below you're going to place an elongated double crochet, chain 1, and an elongated double crochet into the single crochet 2 rows below, just like that. And then you're going to place a stitch marker. Then you're going to pick up your previous color. This is row 7 of the neckline shaping, and you're going to make a chain of 4 and single crochet into the single crochet of the previous color. Then 5 double crochets into the chain 1 space in between the 2 elongated double crochets, chain 3, 5 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and you should notice that the number of hats keeps decreasing as we keep working our decrease rows. So you can see the slant, then chain 3, 5 double crochets, chain 3, and in the last chain 1 space you're going to place only 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then you're going to place a stitch marker. This is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, row 7 of the neckline shaping. So we're going on to row 8, and this should be our last row. You're going to remove the stitch marker from the previous row, and then make a chain of 3 and single crochet the top of the last double crochet of the previous row. So you attach your yarn and single crochet there, chain 2 and elongated double crochet, chain 1, elongated double crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and repeat the pattern until towards the end of the row. All right, now you're going to make a chain of 2 and single crochet into the middle stitch of the last 5 double crochets. So I've ended up with a total of 3 full hearts, which is 1, 2, and 3, and then this is a half heart. So from here, you're going to make a chain of 1. You can go ahead and keep working your pattern until you get the depth that you want here, but I'm going to stop at this point. And I've done a total of 8 rows, and at this point you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, and then you're going to do the same exact thing for your previous color. You make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through. So this is what the shaping is going to look like, the neckline shaping. So you're going to repeat the same exact process on the opposite side. So attach your yarn on this side, and repeat from row 1 of the neckline shaping. Single crochet here, and then 5 double crochets in the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets. Chain 3. So this will look exactly like row 1 of the opposite side. So just rewind the video and repeat the same exact process, and I'll be back when I have the same exact thing I have on this side. Alright, now we are back. We are done working the second side of the neckline shaping, and you should have something that looks like this on one side, and then the same exact thing going on the opposite side. So I mentioned the repeat rows that you need to do in case you need your neckline to drop a little bit lower, and that was repeating rows 2 to 5 of the short rows in order to get this length to be longer than this. But for me, I continued working until I had a total of 3 full hearts. This is a half heart because it has 3 stitches, not 5. So I have 1, 2, and 3, and you should make sure you have the same exact thing going on the opposite side. Now, to measure my panel, I ended up with a total. Remember, before I had 10 inches, and now 10 has become a total of about 14 inches. And this is the length that I am considering for my top. After your very first panel, you're going to make a second panel that is identical to your first one, as you can see here. And now let's go on to our sleeves. Once you get done with your 2 panels, you're just going to put them aside, and then we go onto our sleeves. Alright, now that we are done with both the front and back panels, we are now going to start working on the sleeves. And the process is basically going to be the same. You're going to use the same exact stitch pattern. And now when it comes to the measurement, you're going to make a chain that can comfortably go around the widest part of your arm. For me, I'm considering 11 inches, and your starting chain should still be a multiple of 6 plus 1 and should go around the widest part of your arm comfortably well. So for me, I started with a chain of 49, which is a multiple of 6 plus 1 chain. So I have my 49 chains, and if I'm to take a measurement across, that gives me about 10 inches, but when slightly stretched, it goes to 11. So without stretching, I'm at around 10 inches, as you can see here. So slightly stretched, 11 inches. So you're going to remove your hook and place a stitch marker in the loop at the end of the foundation chain of the sleeve, and then you're going to repeat the same exact instructions from row 1 until you get the length of the sleeve that you want, from your wrist all the way up to your armpit. That should be the measurement that you consider when working the stitch pattern. So go back to row 1 of the stitch pattern and repeat the same exact process and grow your sleeve until the armpit, from your wrist until the armpit, and I'll meet you back when I have my sleeve ready. Alright guys, I ended up repeating the stitch pattern until I had the length from the armpit until the wrist. Make sure that your last row resembles row 6. Now you're going to turn your work and we're going to start creating the decreases. So to create the shaping of the sleeve, you're going to go onto your next color. Remove your stitch marker from the previous color, which is red. And then you're going to directly go into this space with a total of 5 double crochets. Actually, you're going to first place a single crochet in this single crochet from the previous row, and then go into the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, and you're going to place your 5 double crochets, and then make a chain of 3, 5 double crochets into the next chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets. Okay, so you're going to repeat this all the way across, and I'll show you how to wind up your row. Alright, so I've just placed my 5 double crochets into the last chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, and then you're going to directly go into this single crochet, the white single crochet, and place a single crochet there. Remove your hook and place a stitch marker there. So you're going to go back to your white color, remove the stitch marker from the loop, and then you're going to make a chain of 5, which counts as the elongated double crochet, and then single crochet into the middle double crochet of the first 5 double crochets here, chain 2 and elongated double crochet in the chain 2 space from 2 rows below. So here, and then make a chain of 1 and elongated double crochet into the next chain 2 space. So from here the pattern remains the same until towards the end of the row, where I'll show you how to wind up. This is the second row of decrease. The red row was the first row of decrease, so this is the second row. And we only decrease at the beginning and at the end of the row. All right, so we're coming to the end of row 2 of the decrease rows, and you're going to make a chain of 2 and single crochet into the middle stitch of the last 5 double crochets, and then you're going to place a stitch marker. So this marks the end of row 2 of the decrease rows. And then you're going to grab your red color, turn your work, you're going to remove the stitch marker from the loop, and then you're going to make a chain of 4 and then single crochet in the last single crochet of the previous row, just like that. And now you're going to double crochet 5 times in the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets. You should notice that this is the same exact thing that we did for row 1 of the decrease rows. Just the only difference is we didn't have the chain 4 at the beginning. So this is row 3 of the decreases. You're going to continue to make a chain of 3 and 5 double crochets into the next chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets. Chain 3, 5 double crochets in the next chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, and you're going to repeat that until towards the end of the row, and I'll show you what to do next. So we've come to the end of row 3 of the decrease rows, and I've just placed 5 double crochets here in this chain 1 space, and I'll go into the next single crochet of the previous color and place a single crochet there, and then I'll remove my hook and place a stitch marker, and that's it. We're going to just repeat rows 2 and 3, 2 and 3 again and again. So remember, row 2, you remove your stitch marker from the loop, and then you make a chain of 5 and then single crochet in the middle double crochet, just like this, just as we did for row 2. This is row 4, so it should look exactly like row 2. And from here you're going to make a chain of 2 and elongated double crochet in the chain 2 space below, chain 1, elongated double crochet in the next chain 2 space. So you should be already seeing the slant of the sleeve of your work. So just keep repeating rows 2 and 3 of the decrease rows, and I'll meet you back when I have a few rows worked, and I'll also recommend a number of rows for the different sizes. Alright guys, so I continued to decrease until I had a total of 4 hearts. This will work for the smaller sizes. For medium large, you're going to decrease until you have a total of around 5 hearts. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, Now for the medium, large, extra large, you're going to consider about 5 hearts at the top part of the sleeve. From here you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through, and then we have to also wind up the red row. Remember there's a stitch marker here, and what I'm going to do is to make a chain of 4 as if I was going to start on the next row, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the single crochet of the white that I just placed, and then make a chain of 1 and cut my yarn, pull through. So that way we have finished the shaping of the sleeve, and we've done a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 decrease rows. But you can do as many as you wish depending on the size that you had at the base of the sleeve. So these are 10 rows of decrease, and then you can go ahead and make a double knot for these 2 tails. Remember, we've been carrying our yarn along. That means we don't expect to have so many loose ends on our sleeve. The ends that we have are at the beginning of the foundation row. So this is what your sleeve will look like. You're going to go ahead and repeat the same exact process for your second sleeve. As you can see here, mine is ready and it has the same exact shaping. So that means I have a total of 64 rows for my sleeve, right from here all the way down. So get rid of all the loose ends, and then we shall see how to attach everything. Alright guys, now that we are done with both sleeves, this is what you should have, and we are now going to attach our sleeves onto the body of the top, as you can see on the screen. This is when I had placed stitch markers to hold everything in place, and yeah, I was satisfied with the results, and now it's time for us to see the assembly of the top. So our sleeves look like this, and then our 2 panels, the front and the back panel, look like this. So we have so many hats going on the screen, but that's because the print is really busy and heavy. So let's go ahead and see the assembly of our top. Alright, so you're going to get your front and back panels, and you're going to put them, you're going to put one on top of the other. They should be identical, so you don't have to worry about which side is the right side or the back side. Both sides should look the same. So I'm placing one panel onto the other, and then you're going to start using your stitch markers. First of all, you're going to mark this corner, that single crochet here, and then onto the single crochet on the opposite side. This is where we're going to have our shoulder seam, and then in the chain 1 space in between the elongated double crochets, you're going to place a stitch marker, and then you're going to get one of your sleeves and mark the exact middle of the top shaping of the sleeve. You can see that the exact middle is this one, into the chain 1 space between the elongated double crochets, and then you're going to attach that point onto the edge on this side of the 2 front and back panels. So this is what we have for now. So this is where our shoulder seam is going to be, and now we've attached the exact middle of our sleeve onto this corner, the top corner of our panels. Now you're going to fold over your sleeve like this into half, and we're going to first place stitch markers on this side. So you're going to see where this corner here is, and you're going to attach it onto the body of the top, just like that. And then you're going to also identify where this corner touches, this corner where we started decreasing, and you're going to attach it onto the body of the top. So we've placed stitch markers here and here. So identify the same exact points that you've marked here and mirror them on the back side, just like this. So where you attached this corner where we started decreasing is exactly where you're going to attach onto the back side of the top. And then do the same exact thing here. So you're going to locate where you attached onto the front side, and you're going to attach it onto the back side. I hope I've got that right. I'm just making sure that everything is perfect. Yes, I think this is fine. So this is what you're going to have. When it comes to the sleeves, we shall be joining row to row, so this shouldn't be a problem. Another thing that you're going to do is to place a stitch marker at the base of the front and back panel, and maybe somewhere around the middle section. And that's basically it. Now you're going to do the same exact thing that you've done on this side onto the opposite side. So get your second sleeve and place your stitch markers. Alright guys, after placing your stitch markers, this is what you're going to have on the screen. And now we're going to get our darning needle and we start joining the panels together, joining the shoulder seam and then also the sleeve onto the body of the top, the side of the top where we place stitch markers, and then under the sleeve as well. So get your darning needle, and I think I'm going to use a red color. So decide which color that you want to use to join your panels together. And now we're going to start attaching our panels together using a darning needle. So what you want to do is to make sure that you don't distort the shape of the top that you have created after placing your stitch markers. Okay, so just make sure you lay your work flat and you don't distort the shape of your top, because when it comes to this part we don't have exact stitches that we are going into. We are just joining the sides together the best way possible. Okay. So you can see how we've moved all the way from this stitch marker onto this one without distorting the shape of the top. So we are continuing past this stitch marker. You can even remove it at this point. You can remove it and then continue to join your panels together. Actually, I think I should have used the white color because I feel like most of the edges are more of white than red. I don't know how that will play out in the end, but I hope I get a very neat finish in the end. Guys, I'm going to switch to my white color. I'm going to switch so that I join with a white instead of red. I just feel like it's going to give me a much better finish. So let me just go ahead and remove the red color and I join using white. I want this piece to be perfect, so I can't take chances about things that I can change. So I'm going to use my white color and I see how things are going to turn out. The fact that we have so much white on the edges, felt like white would be the best color to join with. Okay. So you can see how this is much more seamless as compared to what we had for the red color. So I think I've made the right decision. Okay. So you can see even when I'm joining, I'm trying to grab the white loops if I can. All right, remove stitch marker and continue to join. Okay, so do you see the difference? I hope you can see the difference between what we had when joining with the red and then what we have when joining with the white. So you're going to go all the way to the opposite side, which is this side of the sleeve, and make sure you get done with joining the sleeve onto the body of the top. And then you will also join the shoulder seam and then under the sleeve. So this is going to take a while. I'm going to do it off camera and then I'll show you the results once I am done with everything. So just make sure you keep your stitch markers intact so that they don't distort the shape of the top that we already have. Alright guys, now that we are done placing our stitch markers where they're supposed to be, we're going to just go ahead and use a darning needle to join the sleeves onto the body of the top, as well as join the sides of the top to close up this gap. You can see the stitch markers at these points. You're going to join under the armpit on the body of the top, and then you're going to also join the sleeve along the side opening of the sleeve, and then you're going to just go ahead and also use your darning needle to join the sleeves onto the body of the top, and that will basically be it. I'm going to use my darning needle and I randomly place joinings in my next clip, but that's it. All right, now I've made it all the way around the sleeve. Let me first remove these stitch markers just for a bit to just show you what everything looks like right now at this point. You can see the sleeve has perfectly attached onto the side of the main body of the top. Now I'm going to go ahead and also attach the shoulder seam, and I do the same exact thing on this side. Then I'll lay it flat to show you what everything looks like before we join the sides of the top as well as the under the sleeves of the top. All right, so I'm going to attach the shoulder seam the sides here, and then I also go ahead to attach the sleeve just like I've done on this side, so that we have the same exact thing as we have on this side. So just do that, and I'll lay it flat for you to give you the bigger picture of what everything looks like before we go ahead to join the sides of the sleeves, the sides of the top as well as under the sleeves. So I'm going to join this, and then I also attach this area here and this one. Alright guys, this is what your work will look like. You won't have a flat edge when it comes to the joining of the sleeves. That's because we've done a shaping that is supposed to create a bulge where your shoulder is going to go. And also, when you wear this piece, you won't have a bulge in the armpits. That's why you have this kind of bulge on the sleeves when you lay it down like this. Now we're going to fold it over like this. Just fold it into half to get the shape for your top or your sweater, whatever you decided to make out of this piece. And you should see that your sleeves are slanting downwards without creating a bulge in the armpit area. So that works like magic when it comes to the shaping of the sleeves. And I'm going to go ahead and join this part, this lower part, this part, and this lower part, and also the top of the shoulders. And then I'll be back to show you what everything looks like after that. Alright guys, this is what you're going to have after joining all your panels together, under the armpits, under the sleeve, on the sides of the top. You can see how everything is joined. And now you can leave your piece at this level. If you decided to make a crop top, as you can see in some of these images, you can just leave it as it is. Now the next step is totally optional. We are going to create the ribbing at the base of the top, just as we did for our shorts, so that we can have a matching set. It can be a beautiful lounge set, trust me. After this, you're going to see the beauty in this particular design. So to match the vibe of the shorts or the pants, if at all you decided to make the pants, if you don't know yet, we already have a tutorial as well as a written pattern for these shorts or pants, and I'll be leaving the link in the description box below for both the tutorial as well as the pattern. So we're going to match this vibe of the shorts and we introduce it to our top. Now I'm still going to use my white color for the ribbing. So you're going to grab your yarn after attaching all the pieces together. You're going to get your yarn and your hook. We are still using a 3.5mm crochet hook. So what we are going to do is we are going to turn our work upside down, and we are going to attach our yarn in any chain to space. Remember the foundation chain of our panels. You go in any chain to space and attach your yarn, and we are going to place 2 single crochets in each and every chain to space. So the reason why I'm doing this is you can see the final look of this piece is a very wide fitting at the base of the top. So if you don't want that and you want to kind of tame the width of your top at the base around the waistline, this is what you're going to do. That's why I mentioned that it will be totally optional. So 2 single crochets and then go into the next chain 2 space with 2 single crochets, next chain 2 space, 2 single crochets, and you're going to repeat that all the way across or around the base of the top. This row is already supposed to kind of gather the top at the base so that we can control the width that we already have at the base of the top. So just go all the way around and single crochet twice in each chain 2 space that you skipped while working row 1 of the panels. 2 single crochets in each chain 2 space. So you can see our work is already gathering. And don't try to stretch it out or try to straighten it out. Just leave it as it is. The whole point of doing this round and the ribbing is to control the width of the top at the base. So go all the way around and continue to place 2 single crochets in each chain 2 space of the foundation chain of the panels. All right, so let me go all the way around and I'll meet you back at the beginning of my round. Alright guys, we've made it all the way around and you can see the circumference around the waist is much smaller than what we had before. So once you place your last single crochet, you're going to go into the very first single crochet of the round and place a slip stitch. And now we're going to go ahead and create a ribbing, if you wish, that is. You're going to make a chain of 10. And then you're going to go into the second chain from the hook, this one, and place a single crochet and single crochet all the way back to the body of your piece. So this will give you a total of 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Once you have your 9 stitches, you're going to slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then you turn your work and single crochet back loop only in each of the 9 stitches from the previous row. So you just skip over the slip stitches. We don't work into them. You're just going to continue to single crochet back loop only in each and every stitch all the way up to the end of your row. So single crocheting in the back loop only is going to create a ribbed effect at the base of the piece. So make a chain of 1. This is row 3. and you're going to place 1 single crochet back loop only in each of the 9 stitches from the row below. Okay, after this you're going to slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then turn your work, 1 single crochet back loop only in each of the 9 stitches from the previous row. So that's all that we're going to repeat, rows 2 and 3 again and again, until you make it around the base of your piece. So you can see the ribbed effect already starting to form. You're going to continue to repeat rows 2 and 3 of the ribbing until you make it around the base of the top. Alright guys, this is the process of how the ribbing is progressing. You can see I'm left with a very short distance to make it all the way around, but I just wanted to come on here and I show you the progress of the ribbing. You can see how professional it looks and how it matches our shorts. Look at that set, guys, look at that. So let me just go ahead and finish up, and I'll be back to show you what the piece looks like. So I've made it all the way around the base of my top, and I'm going to leave behind a long tail that's going to attach the opening of the ribbing. So we are joining this side to the other side. Just join stitch to stitch. Actually, we are joining the last row of the ribbing onto the foundation chain of the ribbing so that we don't have that split. Alright, so I just joined the last one, and after this you're going to just go ahead and get rid of the loose ends, either by tying a knot or weaving it in using a darning needle. That's going to be totally up to you. I'm going to first make a knot here, and then I can go ahead to either weave it in or just cut, because at this point I have a knot at this point. So this is what the ribbing at the base of the top looks like. And let's introduce our shorts and see how the set looks like together. So when it comes to the ribbing of the top, we won't have a drawstring unless if you want one. But for the ribbing of the shorts, I had to place a drawstring for better fitting. So do what you have to do in order to get the fitting that you want for yourself. And I think the rest, I'm going to just leave it as it is. You can go ahead and attach a ribbing on the sleeves as well, but you just follow the same exact instruction for the ribbing at the base of the top or the sweater. And then you can go ahead and attach a ribbing both on this side and this side. That's also optional, but yeah, that marks the end of this tutorial, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment behind if you enjoyed it, and if you tried it out. Make sure you tag me in your finished pieces. I would like to see the final products that you come up with using this design. And don't forget to check out the related content to this particular pattern. We already have a bag, and we also have a pair of shorts, stroke pants, and now we have this sweater, and we also have a bralette. So there are so many designs that you can try out using this stitch. And if you have fallen in love with this particular stitch pattern, feel free to try out those designs, and don't forget to check out the written pattern on all my online shops. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Happy Valentine's Day. That's tomorrow, and I hope you have a lovely one, and I hope you're enjoying these projects. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.